Hello, my name is Julie. I'm a teacher with unlimited knowledge, and I'm going to give you a short lesson today introducing something that I think is very important when learning English. So you could ask yourself, what for you is the most important, the four skills when learning English? Is it reading, writing, listening, or speaking? In my opinion, it is speaking, of course. As you improve in your speaking skills, you will be able to speak well enough to be understood by an American or a British person. But are you using the appropriate verbs? The verbs that the average English speaker would use in day-to-day situations. So let's have a look at these sentences. Jack decided to postpone his meeting with Jenny. I lost my keys. If you discover them in your house, please let me know. I arise every morning at 8 o'clock. Sam exited the taxi at the railway station. All the verbs highlighted are often used English verbs, but they're a little formal for everyday speech. And this is where phrasal verbs and understanding and using them comes in very useful for you. So this lesson is a brief introduction to phrasal verbs, which I hope will whet your appetite and make you want to learn more. Okay. So in these sentences, for example, let's look very quickly. Postpone is quite a formal verb, okay? And most English people will say put off. Discover, it's another word for find. If you find my keys, let me know. But a lot of English speakers will say, if you come across my keys, let me know. I arise every morning at 8 a.m. Most English people, they don't say arise. They say get up. So I get up out of my bed at 8 o'clock. Sam exited the taxi at the railway station. Again, most English people will say Sam got out of the taxi using the past tense. Okay. So you can see from these verbs that they are made of two words, the verb, and usually followed by a preposition or sometimes an adverb. Okay, so off, across, up, and out are all prepositions, and they change the meaning of these verbs. So let's have a look at some more verbs. Okay, look, come, get, and put. If we add a preposition to look, it becomes look up. So it now means to search for something. Yes, it doesn't mean I look at the sky. I look up a word in my dictionary. I search for it. Come across now means to find something. Get out now means to exit. For example, to get out of a taxi, to get out of the office to get some fresh air. I need to get out. I need to leave, to exit. And put off, with the off on the verb, it now means to postpone, to change something to another date because we can't do it today. Okay. So phrasal verbs, just to reiterate, to repeat, are usually verbs, or always verbs, with two parts. The infinitive of the verb, like look, plus a preposition and sometimes an adverb. But we're just looking at prepositions today in this short lesson. Come across, get out, put off. They are the verbs that lots of people in England and in America, native English speakers, use those verbs. Now, phrasal verbs can be split into categories. Nothing is straightforward in English, and phrasal verbs can be split into categories. So we have phrasal verbs that need an object, and phrasal verbs that don't need an object, okay? Don't worry about this. I'm going to explain a little further. So, for example, put on, take off, and pick up. We are doing the action to something. Something is the object. So I put on a coat. You can see here the object. It's highlighted in yellow, and it's highlighted in yellow here. So I put on what? A coat. I dress, I put it on, I wear it. Okay. She put on a beautiful pair of shoes. That is the object. She was happy to take off, to remove her shoes after the party. So here is the phrasal verb, take off, which means remove. And the object is the shoes. What is she taking off? John took off his coat because he was hot. Okay. However, there's a little bit more, because those phrasal verbs that have an object, some of them can be separated. And the object goes in the middle or at the end and separates them. Okay. And some verbs can't be separated by their object. So again, put on. This is our phrasal verb, put on. Jane put on the coat. This phrasal verb can be separated by the object, the coat. Jane put the coat on. So we are separating the two parts of the phrasal verb and we're inserting the object. Jane put the coat on. Okay. Another example of a phrasal verb that can't be separated is look after. So to look after is to guard someone, to take care of them. So Jack looked after his sister. Yes, he helped her. He looked after her. He was a good brother. So we can't separate this verb. We can't say Jack looked his sister after. We can't say that. Now, I don't have enough time, and quite frankly, I'm not sure why English is built like this. It just is. And phrasal verbs are a little bit like idioms. You just have to learn them and practice. Always the best way to learn a language is practice. Okay. So some phrasal verbs can be separated and some phrasal verbs can't. So we can separate the verb put on his sweater by the object, his sweater. Tom put on his sweater, or Tom put his sweater on because it was cold. His sweater, if we're looking for another pronoun, we could use it. So Tom put it on. This is my sweater. I put it on today. Okay. However, we can't put the pronoun after the phrasal verb. Again, why? I don't know. It's something you have to learn. Even the cleverest teacher doesn't know everything. So, Tom put it on. Tom put the sweater on. but you can't say Tom put on it. Now, some phrasal verbs have more than one meaning, just when you thought it was getting easy. Take off is a very good example. Okay, so take off means to remove. I always take off my shoes before I enter my house. I'm a very organized person and I like my house to be clean. So I always take my shoes off before I enter my house. I can put the object in between take and off. Take off here is separable. I can put the object between take and off. Remove. However, take off also refers to an aeroplane leaving the ground and starting to fly, or a bird taking off to fly. The plane takes off at 9 o'clock. You can't separate take off in that example. It means to leave the ground. It just takes off. It doesn't need an object. So a few more phrasal verbs for you. Put on, pick up, and turn on. Okay. So with all of these, to put on is to wear. Yes. She put her dress on. She put on her dress. Okay. So here we have the object, either between the two parts of the verb or at the end. Okay. Pick up is to collect. The more formal way is saying to collect. So I will collect you from your house to go to the party at 9 o'clock. But we don't say that. I will pick you up at 9 p.m. I will collect you. I will pick you up. And again, pick up can be separated by the object, which is you in this case. However, because you is a pronoun, we can't put it at the end. So we can't say, I will pick up you. Some people do say that, but it's not correct. I will pick up you. It's not correct. So that, because it's a pronoun, we can't put it at the end of the phrase. To turn on, it's similar to open.です. It's similar to open, like to turn on the kettle. In England, we drink our tea. I'm going to make a cup of tea. I'll turn on the kettle, open the kettle to make the water hot. I'll turn the kettle on. Yes, we can put the object in the middle of the phrasal verbs. Turn the kettle on. I'll turn on the kettle. We can say that. That's good because we have the object here. But if we use it, we change kettle to it, we can't say I'll turn on the it or I'll turn on it. We don't say that. Again, practice, practice, practice. Okay. So to summarize, really, phrasal verbs are most often used in speaking, in informal English. We use them less in writing, where we usually use the one-word verb, more formal. So some examples are below. Okay, let me see if I have them here. If I don't, I will type them for you. Yes, here we go. So, formal and informal. Ask for. Ask for. What does that mean? To ask for something is to request. Okay. The king requested a meeting with the prime minister. Very formal. Yes, the king won't ask for anything. He requests. But I asked my friend for a cup of tea when I went to his house. Okay, so ask for. I asked my friend. The object goes between asked and for. So, are you learning business English? Then you might have different needs. You might not want to learn all the phrasal verbs. You might want to learn more formal English because you're in a business environment. So this is why we have different forms of lessons that are offered through all the different teachers. Okay, so just very briefly, we asked for an updated plan 2 weeks ago. Okay, we requested an updated plan. This is the formal English. We requested an updated plan 2 weeks ago. Very formal. Okay. If we're writing in business English, we would say requested, not asked for. It's too informal. It's not professional. It's everyday English. My manager is thinking about your business proposal. My manager is thinking about, to think about something. Informal, it's a phrasal verb. If we're being more official and talking in business English, we would say, my manager is considering your business proposal. Here it's in the present continuous, but we're using the phrasal verb in the present continuous. Thinking about, to think about something. That is inseparable. You can't put business proposal in the middle. You're thinking about something. The new shops are distributing free samples. This is the more formal form of the verb. The new shops are giving out free samples. To give out free samples. Okay, that is a phrasal verb that we would use in speaking. Okay, so that's a little bit of information about phrasal verbs. If you love learning English as much as I love teaching it, then feel free to join my lessons, and together we can discover, find out more information about phrasal verbs and formal and in English. There are lots of interesting things about the English language. It doesn't have to be hard work, but it has to be fun, and you have to have a good time. So hopefully this has helped you understand a little bit about phrasal verbs, even though there is quite a lot to know about them, but it's worthwhile. Everything that is worthwhile is a little bit more challenging. So nice to meet you, and I hope to see you again.